afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, Pope Francis releases his first audio message since being hospitalized for double pneumonia. From Bob Marley to Kylie Minogue, King Charles reveals his playlist in a project with Apple Music. An Australian startup unveils the world's first computer running on human brain cells. And Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc hold an epic show in Milan ahead of Formula One season. Thanks for joining us. For the first time in 3 weeks, the world heard the voice of Pope Francis, who's still battling double pneumonia in hospital. A two-line audio message recorded by the Pope was played during a nightly prayer service in St. Peter's Square at the Vatican.
Agradezco de todo corazón las oraciones que hace por mi salud desde la plaza. Los acompaño desde acá. Que Dios los bendiga y que la Virgen cuide. Gracias.
This came shortly after the Vatican said the pontiff had remained stable and did not have any new episodes of respiratory crisis. Doctors also say they will not issue another medical bulletin until Saturday, quote, considering the stability of the clinical picture. Ever wondered what type of music King Charles listened to? Well, we're finally getting answers, as the British monarch himself has partnered with Apple Music to launch a playlist called The King's Music Room. In a teaser video, Charles already revealed some of the songs that brought him joy over the years, including tracks from Bob Marley and Kylie Minogue.
Throughout my life, music has meant a great deal to me. It has that remarkable ability to bring happy memories, comfort us in times of sadness, and to take us to distant places. But perhaps above all, it can lift our spirits to such a degree, and all the more so when it brings us together in celebration. In other words, it brings us joy. So this is what I particularly wanted to share with you, songs which have brought me joy.
Apple says the diverse playlist will also include 1930s crooners and Afrobeat stars. The King's Music Room will be broadcast on the Apple Music One station on Monday and on Apple Music's global radio stations Tuesday to mark Commonwealth Day. The UK also celebrating 25 years since the London Eye first opened its pods to the public. The attraction was originally intended to stand for just around 5 years, but it was later granted permanent license. And since its opening, the London Eye has welcomed more than 85 million visitors, featured in hundreds of films and TV shows, and borne witness to around 8,000 proposals. It remains as the world's largest cantilevered observation wheel.
I mean, it does feel pretty amazing. It's testament not only to me, but of course to my partner, David Marks, who sadly is no longer with us, but and to, I mean, we calculated that there must have been about 1,000 people who really helped make it happen. So it's not the act of a single person or even two people, it's the act of many, many people who made it happen. It was a wheel because it was celebrating the millennium, so it was a kind of a symbol of time. So a circle has no beginning, no end. It is the symbolic of the passing of time, but also the cycles of life. So it was very much generated by the millennium.
Europe's new Ariane 6 rocket carries out its first commercial mission. The heavy-lift rocket blasted off into rainy skies from French Guiana. Around an hour later, it successfully placed a French military satellite into orbit, giving the continent a new independent access to space. This comes as Europe seeks to strengthen its defenses. Amid doubts about cooperation with the U.S., under President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, SpaceX of billionaire Elon Musk suffers another setback in its own space missions. It conducted its 8th test flight of the Starship rocket Thursday with a super heavy first stage booster returning back to land as planned. But minutes later, the company lost contact with the rocket as the Starship upper stage began to spin out of control in space. A test mission in January also ended 8 minutes into flight when the Starship exploded in space, raining debris over Caribbean islands. A privately built spacecraft has landed on the moon's south pole, but it touched down on its side after issues with its laser rangefinders. The 6-legged Athena lander from Intuitive Machines is carrying 11 payloads and scientific instruments. This marks the second time that a spacecraft from the company touched down on the moon in an irregular position.
We did have some challenges with measurements coming out of our laser rangefinders. Those are sticky little things like we had from the last mission, which we'll go dive into and understand why those measurements were so noisy. When we get that full assessment, we will then work closely with NASA, science and technology groups to identify science objectives that are of the highest priority. And then we'll figure out what the mission profile will look. It will be off nominal because we're not getting everything that we had asked for in terms of power generation, communications, etc.
On to headlines here at home. Malacanang confirms the resignation of DICT Secretary Ivan Uy. This comes amid criticisms over his frequent foreign trips and supposed delays in key digital infrastructure projects. Uy is the third cabinet member to have resigned in less than a month, following PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez and Transportation Chief Jaime Bautista. Sources suggest Senator Grace Poe could replace Uy as DICT Secretary. Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon fires the contractor for the Unified Grand Central Station. The DOTR announced it is terminating its contract with BF Corporation, a construction firm founded by the late MMDA chairman and former Marikina Mayor Bayani Fernando. Dizon warns the company may face penalties for failing to meet project deliverables. The Unified Grand Central Station is a project designed to connect the LRT-1, MRT-3, and MRT-7. With the contract terminated, the timeline for completion remains unclear, raising concerns about further delays in one of the country's most anticipated transport projects. Constitution framer Christian Monsod expresses disappointment over the Senate's failure to immediately convene as an impeachment court for Vice President Sara Duterte's trial. Hannah T. joins us live from San Juan for more on this. Hannah, go ahead.
That's right, Mai. Even one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution has criticized the Senate's delay in commencing the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, and he warns that it undermines the very purpose of the impeachment. Attorney Christian Monsod has strongly criticized the Senate's decision to postpone the impeachment trial and asserts that the delay directly violates Article 11 of the Constitution, which states that an impeachment trial should be convened forthwith, meaning immediately once the articles of impeachment are transmitted. Monsod expressed disappointment that despite the House transmitting the articles on February 5, the Senate, under the leadership of SP Cheese Escudero, has decided to schedule the trial only after session resumes on June 2, since the body is currently on recess. He stressed that the very purpose of impeachment is to remove public officials who have violated public trust and protect the interests of the people. and that delaying it defeats its essence. He also questions whether political motives are at play, pointing out that some senators may be deliberately avoiding the trial due to its potential impact on their own election chances. He wants the public to pay close attention to which senators will resist convening the impeachment court, suggesting that their reluctance could be driven by personal or political interests rather than adherence to the Constitution. Monsod says the Senate also has the power to begin the trial immediately without waiting for a special session called by the President. This is after some suggestions that the executive branch may be involved to expedite the trial. He warns that the Senate's inaction could constitute a constitutional violation and urges the public to hold lawmakers accountable. Monsod calls on citizens to remain vigilant and demand that the impeachment process be upheld with integrity without undue delays or political interference. Mai?
Right, and Senate President Cheese Escudero has remained firm. He said no amount of signatures will force the impeachment trial while the Senate is in recess. Thank you for that report. Hanati, live from San Juan. We're taking a break. Up ahead, a look at the world's first computer powered by human brain cells. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns.
Hi there mga galarkada and welcome back dito sa Galore sa Pantalan. Summer season is finally here dahil ang init mga galarkada, pero hindi tayo papatinag sa init ni Haring Araw dahil nandito tayo ngayon sa SM Mall of Asia. So what are we waiting for? Tara na mga galarkada!
Hailed as the biggest mall in the country, one of the places to visit talaga ang Mall of Asia o MOA, lalo na sa mga bibisita sa Metro Manila from Visayas and Mindanao. From the Port of Manila, nasa 30 to 45 minutes lamang ang biyahe mula North Port Terminal papuntang MOA.
Mainit ba ka mo? Well, shopping malls are the place to be, lalo na sa Pilipinas na kaliwat kanan ng shopping malls. Malamig na, mag-e-enjoy ka pa.
Paglabas ng alley ay bubungad na ang mga shops at stores. Mula sa luxury at branded items, bookstores, jewelry shops, and even photo booth. Shop till you drop ang peg mo dito, galarkada. Place to hang out and chill ba ang hanap mo? Well, SM by the Bay Amusement Park is the place to be. Chill out with your friends at i-enjoy ang magandang sceneries at exciting vibe dito sa amusement park. Sa Bay Area naman, ay pwede kang mag-emote at mag-senti mode habang pinapanood ang majestic sunset sa Manila Bay. Mayroon din silang mga rides para sa mga chikiting at kids at heart. Pinakasikat na attraction dito sa SM MOA by the Bay Amusement Park ay ang kanilang MOA Eye. Take your adventures to new heights and see the breathtaking view of the city.
So there you go guys, nalibutan nga natin ang SM Mall of Asia at ang SM by the Bay Amusement Park. Hanggang sa muli, ako si Neil, ang inyong galarkada sa galaan at chikahan dito lang sa Galore sa Pantalan.
You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Nearly 20 million Filipinos are expected to benefit from two major World Bank-funded projects. These include the $454 million Mindanao Transport Connectivity Improvement Project. This aims to enhance sustainable transport infrastructure and boost economic growth in Cagayan de Oro, Davao, and General Santos. It is seen to help bridge Mindanao's infrastructure gap, making goods and services more accessible. Meanwhile, the Philippine Health System Resilience Project will strengthen climate-resilient healthcare networks across 17 provinces amid addressing critical shortfalls in health services. Another reprieve for Canada and Mexico as U.S. President Donald Trump delays 25% tariffs for more goods. This covers all products under a North American trade pact. The exemptions, which will expire on April 2nd, come amid negotiations between Canadian and Trump administration officials.
And I spoke to the President of Mexico, wonderful woman, today, and we helped them out with the problem they were having to do with the tariffs, short-term tariffs. And we had a very good conversation. Also, we discussed drugs, and they've been working much harder lately. Do you notice that? On people coming in and drugs, and we've made tremendous progress on both.
On Wednesday, Trump also delayed import taxes for vehicle imports just a day after they came into effect. On to more innovations at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona in what could challenge the boundaries of technology and biology. An Australian startup unveiled the world's first commercial biological computer running on living human cells. It fuses human stem cell-derived neurons with silicon, creating a new class of AI. The unit has an artificial life support system to keep the cells healthy, including a feeding reservoir and pumps instead of a heart.
In the short term is we can use it for life sciences, for personalized medicine, for drug discovery and development. But the longer term vision of the company here is to pioneer a new form of computing where we can actually use these neurons that can process information with much quicker speed, with much less data, and with much more energy efficiency so that we can get to intelligence, but without the significant costs associated with it. For the longest time, we've been treating populations of people. But what you really want to be treating is the individual itself. With this kind of technology, we potentially could grow neurons taken from patients with, say, a dementia or with epilepsy, and test compounds and drugs that would then be personalized and tailored to that patient.
It's no secret that wines can be intimidating, but a Spanish company is hoping to change that using technology. Still, at the Mobile World Congress, they showcased their smart wine bar that uses AI to assist customers in selecting wines according to their preferences. The clients will need to scan a QR code, and from there, they'll have a conversation with an AI to find out their ideal wine.
After 2 years working with AI, we were finally able to present a model that suggests which wine to have in a very intelligent way, with 4 questions without the need of the user to know much about wine. The truth is we're getting a very good feedback. There's lots of people related with gastronomy that is asking us whether they can use this technology at their restaurant.
In sports, Ferrari teammates Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc put on a show in Milan ahead of the Formula One season. The two men revved through the city streets to the delight of some 35,000 fans. Leclerc rode his podium-winning car SF90, while the 7-time world champion drove a 2021 SF2. This comes ahead of Hamilton's Ferrari race debut after moving from Mercedes. The F1 season starts in Melbourne on March 16.
Right now I feel relaxed. I feel I've prepared myself the best way I can. I was with my engineers yesterday. We were on the simulator. I don't feel there's anything. I don't feel like we left any stone unturned in the space of time we've had.
We experience crazy things all the time, especially coming to Italy. And an event like this had never been done before, and it was just exceptional. To be driving in the streets of Milan with so much tifosi was very special.
In the NBA, achievement unlocked for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek freak scored his 20,000th career point in the Milwaukee Bucks' dominant win over the Dallas Mavericks. Giannis is the latest player to reach the 20K club following teammate Damian Lillard, who achieved the feat last season. The former NBA champion and 8-time All-Star is currently Milwaukee's all-time leader in multiple categories, including points, rebounds, and assists. An upcoming auction gives hoop fans a chance to own a piece of greatness. Sotheby's is auctioning off rookie jerseys worn by basketball legends Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Both jerseys are expected to sell for around $10 million each, or over 570 million pesos. The legendary threads will be on public display in New York and available for bidding starting March 21st. Wow. A private collection of vintage movie posters is also going under the hammer this month. More than 500 posters from U.S. collector Dwight Cleveland will be auctioned in London from March 27 to 28. His leading lot is a 1933 King Kong poster valued between $40,000 and $80,000. Other items include posters from Breakfast at Tiffany's and The Wizard of Oz.
Collectibles are booming. They're very nostalgic. You know, people like comfort, they like nostalgic, and even in times of uncertainty, they gravitate toward things that bring them happiness, and movies are magic.
Hit musical Hamilton cancels its run at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts after U.S. President Donald Trump took over the organization. Trump last month fired its president, replaced the board of trustees, and named himself chairman. Hamilton was supposed to run at the center until April 26 to celebrate 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The show's creator, Lin-Manuel Miranda, has been a vocal critic of Trump. And over to Los Angeles as Christina Ricci becomes the latest actor to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She was joined at the ceremony by her husband, Mark Hampton, and their 2 kids. Ricci gained fame at the age of 11 for her role as Wednesday in The Addams Family.
You know, I never even thought that this was possible or something to wish for. I just, you know, this has been my whole life, this industry and career. So this feels really validating and lovely.
Still Wednesday Addams to me. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.